Hey, what's up? This is Phoenix, and I'm going to talk a little bit about my new book, The Scrapyard, which you can find on my author page at amazon.com/author/phoenix_rises. But before I talk about it, I encourage you to like, subscribe, and share on my YouTube channel, as it helps me a lot. And so yeah, without further ado, I'm going to talk about The Scrapyard. So this is The Scrapyard. This is my new book, which you may or may not have seen yet on Amazon. But I encourage you to get your own copy, and I will try to convince you and persuade you of why. So, The Scrapyard is an interesting text. I actually hadn't planned on releasing it, but things came together and it got me really excited, and so I decided to go ahead and release it. So I'm really excited about that. In general, I would say I'm very pleased with the artwork. It was done by my friend Preston, who did the artwork and has been a supporter of my writing from the beginning, and I really appreciated that. Now, you might be wondering why it's called The Scrapyard. Well, that is a valid question, and the reason is because it was kind of a play on words with thinking about a scrap of a poem, as the poems are very minimalistic so to speak, and so it was kind of this idea of like the scrapyard, a place where I could have my poetic scraps, literally, but it's not necessarily a pejorative term. It's actually more of just announcing a kind of style that I wanted for this specific book. In terms of content and actually minimalism, the closest book that this book is close to in terms of that I've written and published, or even just written in general, is my book Pocket Words, which you can also find on my author page. And Pocket Words was a very interesting book as well, because I was utilizing minimalism, and I enjoyed doing that. But I would say the difference between The Scrapyard and Pocket Words is that The Scrapyard is a little bit more playful with the language. There are a lot of poems in Pocket Words that are actually very serious, and they were capturing a very specific mood. But with The Scrapyard, it was a little bit more kind of incorporating humor, actually, and using the brief form of brevity, so to speak, as a way of capturing that kind of playfulness that I added to the text. So the book is split up into 3 parts. The first part is called Remembering Where You Are At. Part 2 is called Part 2 is called Narrative of a Scrapyard, and then Part 3 is called Expansion Riff. And the best way to describe it is Part 1 includes some of the minimalist poems. Part 2 includes more of a kind of arc, supposedly, of what scrap poems could be in a kind of larger narrative. And then Part 3 is an experiment of having a longer poem, but with very short segments, for about 30 to 40 micro poems, or micro states, you could call them. Now, I'm really excited about this book, and I hope that you will check it out. And the artwork is very beautiful, and I think that you will like it, and as well as the poems. I'm going to be reading some poems on my YouTube channel coming up, so definitely keep a lookout. And before I close, I would like to read the description of the actual synopsis of the book, to kind of give you an idea of what's going on. A scrap for a dog, a poem for a mind. What does a poem represent but a quick thought or fast concept to explore and expand upon? Poetry, words, ideas, beautiful ideas, scraps of language made whole and essential by the creative process and by the hungry reader. The starving dog, the starving mind. And where is the time for poetry, lest it be quick and painless in our blisteringly paced society? So go explore the world, explore your mind, free yourself with poetry, get lost in the creative scrapyard of potential, and construct your imagination, construct something new. The Scrapyard, where everything in the mind ends up to be made a new structure. Enjoy the poetry here. Breathe in deep. Life is good. Life and poetry made whole. I'll meet you at the Scrapyard. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this talk, and I encourage you to check out my book, and as well as my other books, if they interest you, which you can find on my author page at amazon.com/author/phoenix_rises. So yeah, I encourage you to check it out. This is Phoenix, and thank you for your time.